Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we're going to keep looking at Eldritch Moon, and we're going to move on and look at Shallow Graves, which is a blue and black deck. Let's take a look at the deck list. So 20 creatures, 5 instants, 4 sorceries, 6 enchantments, 25 land, mana curve off to the side there. Let's just dive in, start looking at the cards in the deck. So it's Innistrad block and it's blue-black, so that means zombies. Impossible to go to Innistrad and not have blue-black zombies in some way. That's pretty much it. So let's the foil face rate is New Scryfall Mob. So 4 and double black for a 0/0. It ends the battlefield with 5+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a player casts a spell, so anyone, any spell, you take a counter off New Scryfall Mob, and if you do, you make a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So I don't know what to think about this really. I suppose because it's a 5/5 that can eventually turn into a 10 power worth of stuff, right? Potentially more because try and remember if you've got any other sort of like zombie tribal effects in here that like boost power and toughness. But like at the very least, right, it turns into 5 tokens. I'm not sure what you think about this. Whether I like it or not. Because I suppose 6 mana for a 5/5. And it does generate tokens, but then I don't know. It's tough to really think about it, really, I suppose. If you can give it like permanent power and toughness in some way, then fine, then it sticks around and you've also made the tokens, or if you can find a way to put counters on it, then it can keep generating tokens, I suppose. I think it's okay. So I'm not quite sure what I think about it. Yeah, so I'd like to hear people's comments on this one. I think it's okay. But yeah, just a bit of a weird card, honestly. But yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it would have played okay. The other rare is a bit more straightforward. Crypt Breaker, so 1 black mana for a 1/1. You can spend 1 in a black, tap it, discard a card, and you make a zombie creature token. And you can tap 3 untapped zombies you control to draw a card and lose 1 life. So actually, this does go nicely with the new Scryfall Mob because that just makes a bunch of zombie tokens, I suppose, which you could then tap to draw cards. Obviously, this makes its own zombie tokens that you could use to tap and draw a card. Yeah, it's okay. There's a lot of discard effects in the deck, and there's not kind of like we saw in the white-red deck back in the previous set. There's a lot of discard effects, and there's not too much. I was going to say there's not too much the benefits. There's a lot of things that care about what's in your graveyard, I suppose. I'm making a real hash of this, aren't I? Crypt Breaker, I think, is fine. I mean, it's blue-black. It cares about the graveyard. It's Innistrad zombies. Of course, it cares about the graveyard. This is fine for loading up your graveyard and getting stuff back from it. Yeah, it's fine. And you got a lot of things that make zombie tokens as well, so this is a nice effect to use those zombie tokens to for card draw. We've got 2 Liliana's Elite, 2 in the black for 1/1. Gets +1/+1 for every creature card in your graveyard. Like I said, there's a lot of things that care about discarding or like milling yourself to get things into your graveyard. So this has got a pretty high ceiling in what it can be like for only 3 mana. So yeah, I think this is fairly solid. We've got 2 Advanced Stitchwing and 1 Stitchwing Scab. These are basically the same card, so I'll just talk about them at the same time. The Advanced Stitchwing is just one more mana. They're both 3 power flyers, and they both have an ability where you can pay mana, discard 2 cards, and they come back onto the battlefield from your graveyard tapped. So yeah, they're basically the same card, aren't they? They're big creatures with flying that are tough to remove permanently. So yeah, I think they're fine. Especially if you use their ability at the end of your opponent's turn, so they're ready to go on your next turn. So yeah. We've got 2 Stitch Mangler, 2 in a blue for a 2/3, enters the battlefield tapped. When it ends the battlefield, you freeze a creature for a turn, tap it down, does untap during its control's next untap step. I think that's okay. Got a single Laboratory Brute, so 3 and a blue for 3/3. When it ends the battlefield, you mill 4. Which is fine because that stocks up your graveyard for things that care about being in your graveyard, I suppose. So yeah, this is okay. A single Lamplighter of Selhoff, 4 and a blue for 3/5. When it ends the battlefield, if you control another zombie, you almost certainly will. You may draw a card, and if you do, discard a card. So just like an ETB like loot effect, perfectly fine. Again, I think it's okay. A single Wailing Ghoul, 1 in a black for a 1/3. When it ends the battlefield, you mill 2. Again, absolutely fine. They feel, I suppose, I know I'm being fairly ambivalent on these because I think they are just mostly fine. I guess what I actually kind of miss about the the blue zombies especially is what I really liked originally in the strat was the fact that a lot of them were pretty chunky for their cost, but you had to exile stuff from your graveyard because to represent you were like stitching a body together to make the zombie. Yeah, but but then I say the payoff for that was it was an additional cost, but they were pretty chunky for their price. And I suppose we got here is like we got a lot of kind of like mill and discard effects, and like I know it doesn't feel like there's enough to benefit from doing it. Maybe I don't know. That's just how it feels, I suppose. And then a single Crow of Dark Tidings, 2 and a black for a 2/1 flyer when it ends the battlefield. Again, you mill 2, sure. And then randomly some non-zombies. So 2 Tattered Haunters, 1 in the blue for a 2/1 flying, can only block other creatures with flying. Sure. 2 Exultant Cultists, 2 in a blue for a 2/2. When it dies, you draw a card. Yeah, that's fine. Again, I suppose like when it it's just fine. It's just fine. This deck is not very exciting to me personally. So it feels like I'm a bit going through the motions with this one, but it's just I don't know. I'm not very excited by this one. I normally like zombies as a tribe and stuff, and how they interact with the the graveyard and stuff. I really liked I liked the blue black zombie deck back in originally in the Strad, and I don't know. This one really feels like it missed the mark in some way, and I can't put my finger on why. A single Reckless Scholar, 2 in the blue, you draw a card and discard a card. So yeah, another way of just filling up your graveyard for things that not that many things that care about your graveyard, honestly. But yeah, it's fine. And then 2 Seagraph Scab, 1 in the blue for 1/3. Yeah, just a cheap blocker, I suppose. Right, then non-creature spells. So 3 Cemetery Recruitment. This is really solid. I actually really like this. So 1 in the black, you return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a zombie, you draw a card. So that's really nice. Just being a raised head effect with a card draw. Yeah, I think that's really solid. And the fact there's 3 of them. So I suppose actually having 3 of these, you got like all your mill effects and like kind of discarding effects. So yeah, I mean you can see it in the usual kind of blue black like reanimator self mill way of turning your graveyard into like a second library essentially to draw from. Because if you mill a lot or discard a lot, this is kind of a tutor. You could see it in that way, I suppose, like tutor for a creature. The extra card draw is actually really nice. I really like this card. We've got 2 Graph Harvest, so 1 black mana for an enchantment, gives all your zombies Menace, which is, for 1 black mana, that's actually really good as just an enchantment to stick around. I lied, there is an effect here that cares about exiling stuff from your graveyard. There I was, complaining, and here we go. So you spend 3 in a black, exile a creature card from your graveyard, and you make a 2/2 zombie creature token. So that's okay. That's okay. So there's nice actually. There's 2 of these because I think this is one of the more key cards in the deck. I like this. 2 Compelling Deterrents, 1 in the blue, return a non-land permanent to owner's hand, and then if that player discards a card if you control a zombie. So this is really nice. If you control a zombie, this is strictly better Disperse. Yeah, that's pretty good. Actually, and then it reminds me of Recoil, which is a blue-black card, like all the way back from Invasion, which is essentially exactly this. You return a permanent, and they discard a card, and it's an absolute crime that it hasn't been reprinted because it's such a quintessentially like blue-black card. But this is really solid, and the fact there's 2 of them is actually really nice. Bouncing any permanent for any 2 mana and a discard as well if you control a zombie, which you will. Yeah, really solid card actually. A single Liliana's Indignation, so X and a black. Put the top X cards of your library into your graveyard, and then type player loses 2 life for every creature card put into your graveyard this way, which is a shame. If it was 2 life for every creature card in your graveyard, it'd be amazing, but then also far, far, far too good. This is okay. Again, you just like mill yourself, don't you? Get more stuff into your graveyard for things that care about being in your graveyard. It's fine, and also a bit of life loss doesn't hurt as well. A single Murder, Lovely Murder is back with art which is not quite as good as the original M13 art, because that art is absolute perfection in my mind. But Murder is still fantastically good removal, 1 and double black. Just destroy target creature. No ifs, ands, or buts, no restrictions, it's dead. It's just dead. Really good. And at uncommon, which is what it should have always been, because it was always a little too good, I think, at 3 mana at common. A single Throttle, 4 and a black, just gives target creature -4/-4 till 10. Yep, it's fine. In my mind, like a little overcosted maybe, but -4/-4 is nothing to sneeze at. So yeah, that's fairly solid bit of removal, especially at common. I think it's okay. And then a single Boon of Emrakul, 2 and a black. This is, you notice, by the way, that we're like 3 decks into Eldritch Moon, and this is like the first reference to Emrakul. It's not the first reference to an Eldrazi, because we had that in the first deck, the Unlikely Alliance, about the one random white soldier card that makes an Eldrazi when it dies. But yeah, bear that in mind. With 3 decks in, this is the first real mention of Emrakul, who was like the main thing of the storyline. That's we're gonna get to that. Trust me, we're gonna get to that. But yeah, it's just an aura, goes on a creature, gives it +3/-3. We see this effect in black a lot. So yeah, it's either doubles as a kill spell, or you put it on one of your more tankier creatures and make it even stronger, but obviously a bit more fragile. So yeah, this is okay. We've got a single Succumb to Temptation, so 1 and double black. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Instant speed, sure, that's fine. Oh, what am I trying to compare this to? Knight's Whisper, maybe something like that. But it's at instant speed, so yeah, this is okay. This is okay, I suppose. And then 2 Spontaneous Mutation, 1 blue mana for an aura that goes on a creature has flash, which is nice. Enchanted creature gets -X/-0, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Considering how much mill and discard you've got, this could absolutely just completely cripple a creature that you put it on. Like, really make it completely useless. So yeah, this is actually quite a nice interaction with all the milling you've got. And a single Ghostly Wings, 1 in a blue aura, goes on a creature with weird number of auras in a blue-black deck. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, has flying, discard a card, return it to owner's hand just to save it from removal, whatever. Yeah, so it just gives, I don't know, one of your bigger zombies evasion, I suppose, maybe, sure. And then 13 Swamps and 12 Island. Yeah, let's talk about what could have been. I just really, I don't know what to think about this day. It's just so, it's so mid, as the kids say, as the youth say. I just have no strong feelings about it whatsoever, which is a real shame actually, because I do like zombies as a tribe. But yeah, this deck just does nothing for me personally. But yeah, let's talk about what could have been. So I thought Chilling Grasp, Grasp. Why did I turn Scottish? Chilling Grasp. Come on, we're Southern England here. So 2 in a blue, instant. You tap up to 2 target creatures and you stun them. They don't untap during their next untap step. The only reason I suggest this because it has madness. So you do have a few discard effects. So it'd be nice to have some of the madness cards in here that benefit from being discarded. This is kind of here as a stand-in for like all blue-black cards in the block that have madness, which I think could have found a home in here. Rise from the Grave, I thought would have been nice in here as well. This is a really nice reprint actually from which we normally see in the core sets. Just 4 and a black, you just reanimate a creature from any graveyard, and it becomes a black zombie in addition to other colours and types. So it's nice. Then it gets the very few actual zombie tribal effects you've got in the deck. And then as an alternate rare, Dark Salvation. So double X on black. Target player makes X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Then up to 1 target creature gets -1/-1 to land 10 for every zombie that player controls. So yeah, obviously a little expensive. Double X is making potentially a bunch of tokens though, and also is a kill spell. That could have fit in here, I suppose, instead of I can't even remember what the rares were. Oh yeah, Newscraft Mob and the Crypt Breaker, which were both fine. They were, they weren't. I didn't feel they were too exciting. They were okay, I guess. But this could have been here. Yeah. So in summary, like this, say this just does nothing for me personally. Like I don't dislike it, but there's very little very little here that makes me be like, oh yeah, this is a really exciting deck. I would have really skipped this one. Not because I think it's bad. I just don't think it's for me personally. Yeah, it's just not doing the kind of things that like excite me in a deck. But that's just my opinion. What are your opinions on this deck after seeing it? Like, is there something I'm missing? What am I? If someone in the comments can explain why this one is actually really, really good and I've missed something critical, please mention it below and I will reconsider my opinions. But until then, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day, and I'll be back in the next one. We're going to look at another intro pack from Eldritch Moon.